Blue states and blue cities are striking back against Donald Trump's threats, including Donald Trump's threats of mass deportation. States like California, states like Maryland, cities like Denver are pushing back forcefully against Donald Trump. On the other hand, you've got MAGA Republican bright red states embracing Donald Trump's mass deportations in the worst kind of ways. I want to break this all down, but let's bring in Kathleen Martinez, an incredible immigration attorney. You may have seen her TikTok. She's got 1.8 million followers on TikTok, 724,000 followers on Instagram. Here is immigration attorney Kathleen Martinez breaking down what California is doing to fight mass bloody deportations. Play the clip.
Y'all, California is doing the absolute most when it comes to refusing to complying with Trump on his mass deportation policies. Just to begin, California Senator Alex Padilla said he is going to do absolutely nothing when it comes to assisting Trump in immigration, considering that's the federal job. It's federal law. It is not their responsibility. Do your job, we'll do ours. And then Los Angeles finally becomes a sanctuary city. What is that? It's a law that prohibits the city from utilizing their own resources in order to help the government when it comes to immigration. In support of this, the mayor basically said, this is not our job, it's Trump. So if you feel like you can do it, go ahead, we're not helping. And then this bill was introduced just on Monday in order to protect undocumented children. This bill would effectively prevent ICE agents from entering daycare centers or schools without a valid ID, statement of purpose, court order, and approval from the school district superintendent, which basically means you can't break the law in order to deport people. This has got to be my favorite part though. Daddy Newsom has asked the state legislator for $25 million purely for a legal defense fund just to fight Trump policies. As if we don't need another reason to love California other than the weather, food, nature, diversity, and education levels, civil rights is very important. Yes, it's expensive, but it's expensive for a reason.
Incredible update there by Kathleen. Here we have the Maryland mayor, a mayor from Maryland refusing to comply with Trump's mass deportation. Here, play this clip.
Breaking news, another mayor has publicly come out to condemn Trump's immigration policy and promises not to comply with them. Mayor Michael O'Connor, located in Frederick, Maryland, publicly said that he will utilize all avenues to make sure that immigrants are safe. He even went so far to publicly state on a televised conference that he would bar any compliance and cooperation with federal ICE agents. He also went as far as to propose an advocacy fund where he would use tax dollars in order to pay undocumented immigrants attorney's fees. The irony in all this is that undocumented immigrants weren't costing taxpayers money. They were actually contributing to the amount of $96 billion in 2022 alone. Now that Trump has promised to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants, it is only going to cost the country more money than we have out of taxpayers' funds in order to both comply and fight his policy.
Here we have a mayor from Denver. Kathleen Martinez breaks it down. Here, play this clip.
Breaking news, Denver Mayor Mike Johnson said publicly that he will do everything in his power to prevent mass deportation of his residents. He was quoted promising to be on the front lines of preventing these federal policies from being imposed on his residents and that he will be willing to go to jail while protesting them. Denver is an established sanctuary city, meaning that undocumented immigrants that live in the city will be welcome to utilize public services and will not be penalized for minor criminal infractions. If Trump does effectively prevent immigrants' ability to work, Johnson is willing to explore both city and state programs for work authorization beyond federal limits. He also does not believe that Trump will realistically enforce the National Guard in enforcing his mass deportation plan, as we simply lack the infrastructure. Good for Mike Johnson.
On the other hand, in North Carolina, they are introducing a bill to track migrants, to track immigrants, to make mass deportations easier. Here's Kathleen Martinez breaking that down. Let's play it.
We have some major breaking news. Senator Elizabeth Warren and Richard Blumenthal have issued a letter to the Secretary of Defense asking him to issue a directive policy which would limit Trump's ability to use military on U.S. soil. Why are they doing this? Well, Trump has promised to utilize the National Guard in order to carry out his Mass Deportation Act by way of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. In this letter, they've asked the Secretary of Defense to issue this directive before Trump takes office and to specifically define when he can actually utilize the military for this plan. However, regardless of whether this directive is actually issued or not, I want to remind you that it is still very unrealistic to carry out mass deportation as we simply lack the infrastructure.
And here Kathleen Martinez talks about what's going on in Missouri. Let's play it.
Breaking news, North Carolina introduced HB 10, which is a bill that requires local police and sheriff to automatically report an undocumented immigrant to ICE. This bill will require local police officers to automatically verify the status of people who were arrested for certain felonies and misdemeanors. If the person does not have legal status, they are now legally required to report that person to ICE. However, this new requirement does not apply to people who were arrested for traffic violations and most misdemeanors. Before, police officers weren't required to report status to ICE regardless of whether they found out that you were undocumented or not.
Let's talk about what Democratic senators are doing right here. Let's bring in Kathleen Martinez for that. Let's play it.
Breaking news. Senate Bill 72 has proposed a bounty hunter program in the state of Missouri targeted towards undocumented immigrants. I'm not kidding. The bill would legally authorize certain residents to hunt down and racially profile undocumented immigrants to the tune of $1,000. Sound familiar? The state of Texas tried to do this. It's currently being challenged in litigation by the ACLU, and Arizona tried this in 2012 unsuccessfully. Why? Because any law that requires racial profiling is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. All I'm going to say is the ACLU is going to be busy for the next 4 years.
And finally, right here, Kathleen Martinez breaks down the fact that the United States can't even afford mass deportations. Play this clip.
Oh, the way I'm fully convinced that America is in its fuck around and find out era. Y'all voted for Trump because you thought that you were broke and you were going to get rich. I have news for you. You're about to be even more broke. According to the IRS, undocumented immigrants paid a total of $96 billion in taxes in 1 year, and it'll take an estimated $88 billion to deport them. We are estimated to lose a total of $200 billion just by deporting them, which we obviously can't afford. An estimated 1.7 million undocumented workers currently work in the food and agricultural industry. Did you know that? If we get rid of them, we have unharvested crops and decreased food production. What happens when we lose the workers who are actually harvesting our food that we eat? Our food prices will skyrocket. Did you know that 63% of our fruit and 40% of our vegetables in the United States currently come from Mexico? Now we're adding tariffs to that, which makes it even more expensive. That is, if we can get some to even harvest them. Oh, and if you thought Trump was going to reduce the housing costs, you are high. What exactly do you think is going to happen when we add tariffs to the majority of cement and lumber products which come from Canada? And who works in construction? Immigrants. Approximately 40% of them are undocumented, who you're trying to kick out. But you voted for him because you thought he was good for the economy.
Now make sure you follow Kathleen Martinez across all socials. She's an incredible immigration attorney. She and her husband have some great social media accounts. We're hoping to do more work with them here at the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe and let's get to 4 million subscribers together.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.